I'll just be blatantly like I cry every now and then for sure because I miss my brother and I miss how things were, or I wish things were different. Of course, like, but that's just being human.
Welcome onto the sideline, everybody. I'm Sports Director Matt Dowell, and I have a guest on our podcast today that I've always wanted to talk to. I think he and his family's story is so incredible, so powerful, and so important. And he also has so many memories with Gamecock football. I'm joined today by Ryan Hilinski, former quarterback for South Carolina, who played for the Gamecocks for 2 seasons from 2019 through 2020. Ryan, welcome to the sideline. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, Matt. Thanks for having me on. I freaking love any chance to get to talk about Gamecock football and the history a little bit,
Yeah,
little reminiscent.
you're so important to the history of this program. You provided so many great memories for this program. And you're just always someone that I've wanted to talk to and pick your brain and in so many different ways about football, about life. And we'll get into all of that in a little bit. But first, just for a quick update on your life, what are you up to these days?
Yeah, well, I'm out in Irmo on Lake Murray. I actually commented on an Instagram post the other day that got a little bit of attraction just because I had a couple Gamecock guys tag me in it, but it was like highest recruit or something like that. And they tagged me in it, and I was like, a lot of things, I regret or wish I did differently back then. But one thing I don't regret is choosing SC. And because this is just my forever home, and I'm out here working with Hilinski's Hope. Just doing my thing with the family close by and my brother up in Rock Hill. So we're all actually in SC here now. So it's good. That's what I'm basically up to, though. I love it.
Nice. When did you come back to Irmo? Like, when did you kind of move in
Oh
officially?
yeah. So that would have been December. It would have been a year and a half ago. So we
Okay.
had pro day, and then I came back. I did insurance when I first got back for about
Okay.
6 months. Realized it wasn't the gig for me. The people were great. They actually helped me a lot just transition back to South Carolina and just get back into the groove of life without ball.
Yeah.
So they were great. And then Hilinski's Hope just needed a little bit of a help, so started helping out with that. But yeah, about a year and a half ago, and geez, it flew by.
Yeah.
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 Shoot, I was
Well,
just up in Chicago doing pro day, and
okay.
it's like,
It's
sheesh,
crazy.
right? Yeah. Anyways.
Well, we're going to talk Hilinski's Hope. We're going to talk your Gamecock career and anything else you want to talk about. That's what this
Heck
podcast
yeah.
is for. A quick disclaimer for our viewers and our listeners. This conversation includes sensitive topics regarding mental health and student athletes. And if you guys maybe don't know Ryan's story, here's a quick introduction on who he is and what he means to South Carolina football. Ryan is a California kid originally. He
Mm.
committed then to South Carolina out of high school and was quarterback for the Gamecocks for 2 years from 2019 through 2020. His freshman season, he started in 11 games for the Gamecocks, including his most famous win, leading South Carolina to a 20-17 overtime win over Georgia in Athens. Ryan and his family also started the charity Hilinski's Hope after Ryan's older brother Tyler died by suicide in January of 2018. Tyler was a quarterback for Washington State. The charity serves to honor Tyler's incredible legacy and memory and to help student athletes with mental health in every way and aspect that they can. Ryan currently serves as the charity's Director of Legacy and Impact. Ryan, it's such a story that has been so vital, I think, to all of college sports, to all of student athletes. I know for me back then, it was one of the first stories where I really felt like mental health kind of got into the zeitgeist of everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hilinski's Hope is very famous nationwide. You guys have helped so many people all across the country, both student athletes and probably so many people who aren't student athletes, who are just everyday people. What can you tell us about what the charity is doing in today's landscape?
Well, first of all, thanks, Matt. I haven't heard somebody talk that well, honestly, about me and the family. I just don't talk to a whole bunch of people, to be honest, but that was really kind and means a lot to us.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, that kind of brings me to my purpose of being at Hilinski's Hope. I was struggling post ball a lot, to be
Mhm.
honest, about, why it didn't work out and stuff like that. But my faith kind of kept me in the right direction of understanding just kind of what you just kind of said. And being in the opportunity to do what we're able to do. I mean, I remember the first time that everybody held up three fingers was I think it was the Alabama game. And I
Wow.
looked over on the sideline, I saw Nick Saban holding up three fingers. And this is like, before a snap. It was the first play of the second half. I was like, I slid to the left. I threw a sail route to Shi Smith. And like, I just heard it hit his chest. It was that quiet in that stadium.
Yeah.
And I've realized as I've come it was hard to juggle kind of both Hilinski's hope and football at that time. I kind of wanted to do both, but at that point, you can't really do both. You got to choose one or the other and go all in. And I've realized that now, and I can kind of go all in, obviously, to Hilinski's hope. And I've realized how many people are struggling out there in reality, and how many people actually don't talk about it, and how close we are to approaching a danger zone of where loneliness is really going to take a toll on people, and this technology is kind of separating us. I
Mm.
don't think in South Carolina. I think these people are amazing, and we do a good job
Yeah.
of connecting with each other. But I've seen in Chicago and just people working their butts off to try to attain love and attain attention and all that stuff. When in reality, you don't need to. I mean, yeah, put your you got to work a little bit, but like you're loved and known and you matter regardless of what you do. And I've come to realize that. So we've done a lot for sure in the college football realm, and we're excited for Student Athlete Mental Health Week this year. But I know that's a little bit straining from the question, so I'll shut up.
No, no, you're fine. So have you seen, has the charity had to adapt as technology has become more vital to student athletes' lives?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'd say so. Well, one, it's amazing. Like one, we haven't gotten this far without other people's help, of course. Like there have been so many people that stepped in to help us along the way. But in reality, it's been just my parents who are the sole people that work at Hilinski's Hope and for Hilinski's Hope. My mom doing the Instagram posting, my dad doing the outreach and newsletter, takes a MailChimp newsletter a week for him to figure out. Or like, and my mom a post like an entire day, and they're mean so well. And so
Yeah.
I realized one, they had a little bit of help too with that, but not full on employees. And so I realized, yeah, we got to get better on social media, because that's where I guess my generation and kind of more people in general are just living nowadays. The more they consume online, and the more that we can get in front of them, the better, I think for sure. And then yeah, honestly, we have mental health toolkits that were actually in the state of Alabama legislation. We get to roll out these mental health toolkits that literally give kids free access to mental health, getting them the right vocabulary, like that, those types of words, because like a 5-year-old is not taught what depressed is. He just kind of, at least myself, learned it along the way, just from being around people. And I feel like the environment you grow up in is so important. So we definitely have to adapt, and I'm learning more ways to adapt for us. A little bit of help would definitely be a good thing, but I've got the Instagram for now at least.
Yeah, yeah. So let's just go off that. Let's just tell, instead of saving it for the end, how can people help Helinski's Hope? What is the help that you guys need? Is it financial?
Oh
What
yeah,
is
I
it?
mean, no, I was just more so. I'd never like to ask for help directly, but I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
just say, I mean, we have Student Athlete Mental Health Week, where this year we have 350 plus schools, at least right now, across the country, that are participating. So that's 150,000 student athletes participating.
Wow.
I got to design the box this year, which is really cool. So like that's never happened before. It looks really awesome. I believe there's a South Carolina. There is. I'll give you a hint. It was after a Kentucky game, a night game, and after a Missouri game, the state, they didn't mean anything by it. I just don't think they were thinking, but they posted a news headline. It was called "Hilinski's Hope Sinks." It's after the worst game I've ever, a stupid bad game of me at Missouri.
Yeah.
But come home, we play Kentucky, and then I look in the stands after the game. There's people with all black paint on them spelling out the message "Hope never sinks."
Hmm.
And Noah Dively, I remember him. I'll give him a shout out. He was a dope dude, and he set that up. So that's one of the panels on the box. But if I were to say to how to help, is just get the message out there. Just be kind to people. Be the best versions of yourself. And I know friggin' economy is crazy. I'm learning that as at 25.
Yeah.
But if it's something that you could write as a tax write-off, of course I could ask for help financially, because that always helps us. But me and my brother have done a good job, and NIL kind of that settlement kind of helped us out get things going again. But yeah, it's been good, and people have always been there for us for sure.
Well, you've got a new role with Hilinski's Hope.
Yeah.
What excites you about this role as the director of legacy and impact?
Yeah, I mean, you said it earlier, kind of Tyler's legacy is important to me. So directing his legacy and making sure, that that's long lasting, as well as, my parents and Hilinski's Hope Foundation in general, not focusing on Tyler as much, but his story and just having it be known that this kid was happy. He was perfect. I mean, he was a dope dude. I loved him. We played Fortnite, the night before he had passed with my brother Kelly and a teammate of his.
Mhm.
I had no clue. Um, and we just want that to be known and that legacy to live on, one for Tyler in his honor, of course, but to also live as a living message, for people to know and have the impact of keeping one more Tyler here,
Yeah.
and having one more Tyler know that they're not alone and he didn't have to do what he did and we'll figure it out because it's just a temporary problem to a permanent. I mean, it's a permanent problem to a temporary solution. Oh, gee, I'm saying it's a temporary problem with a permanent solution.
Yeah.
And I think that if they think about that and think it through, and they can make it to that next sunrise that next day, then we can get them right. So
Yeah.
yeah.
This charity does so many great things. What are the goals for the charity right now? Like, what are the things
Hmm.
that you guys strive to achieve with student
Hmm.
athletes?
Well, mostly we have three programs mainly. We do Tyler Talks, and
Mhm.
that includes me, my mom, and my dad. Mostly my parents. I'm starting to step on board with it, but basically it's a raw emotional talk where they tell Tyler's story. They tell stories within his life, that kind of just touch on the rawness of depression, of suffering, and stuff like that to either schools, organizations. They went to a woman's juvenile penitentiary and spoke.
Wow.
It was one of the most impactful things I've ever seen because I got to travel with them. I bought a camera, tried to started taking pictures for them and stuff like that. Went to Chatfield, Colorado, started talking to a high school there, Columbine Shooting High School, actually,
Yeah.
and it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. All the people coming up afterwards and just hugging my parents and being emotional, being vulnerable. So those Tyler talks we do everywhere. It's amazing. It comes full circle because when I first came here, I was up in Greenville at ScanSource. Hilinski's Hope went up there.
Yeah.
They got invited by ScanSource in collaboration with Taj Boyd and his
Oh
foundation.
yeah.
And so I was up there with Taj Boyd and I was able to speak about Hilinski's Hope to the ScanSource employees. So that kind of, I guess, talk in a sense and being able to do it to organizations or student athletes creates an environment where they feel comfortable enough to talk about it with one another and, that literacy stuff. And then there's the mental health modules I was talking about that we
Mhm.
provide and roll out. That's more for just students in general, actually. Those are just in schools and student athletes. That's amazing. They get to go through that. We get the data back. It's really cool stuff. And then there's the Student Athlete Mental Health Week, which is where you have, shoot, like I said, 350 plus schools. We just partner with Athletes for Hope too, which is Kevin Love's.
Cool.
But he partners with them and they have a bunch of cool athletes too on their board. So they're going to be helping us out. And really, we just want to get the message out there, especially being a younger guy myself, of being, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to talk about your stuff. Because I feel like with all this money rolling into the NIL, it's obviously a blessing for these guys. But I feel like that just stacks the pressure so much more,
Mhm.
in a sense, if they really care about the game and love it.
Yeah. Going off of
So
that,
doing a lot. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, going off of that, the college landscape has changed so much since you were here at South Carolina. You
Yeah.
have NIL, you have, just the social media has just, it was a thing when, obviously when you were in college, but it's
Hmm.
just gotten so much bigger. And we just actually did an episode about, Maddie McDaniel, a women's basketball player here at South
Yeah.
Carolina, stepping away from the team because she
Yeah.
said she wanted to focus on her mental health and emotional well-being. How have you seen the conversation surrounding mental health change in these last 5 to 8 years?
Well, one, I did see that about Maddie, and I applaud her for doing that because, like, that takes a lot of guts and courage to do,
Yeah.
especially at South Carolina. And just good for her, and I hope she's doing well for sure. But I've seen it evolve big time, honestly. I mean, it is amazing to see Hilinski's Hope come. but it's also tragic at the same time because that means that other lives have had to be lost for other foundations to kind of start.
Mhm.
But also some haven't had to be lost. We've had help come in other ways, but the conversations just began to become normalized. I feel like it's began to become not as awkward for people to talk about, hey, I'm sad, or hey, I'm angry or anxious and this or that, because more and more people are expressing that to each other. And I always use the story of, Jesus needed help carrying his cross. Simon helped him. So I feel like we all need each other in a sense. So I know definitely social media is I used to be crazy with it, of course, because I was like, this is amazing. It's great. You get all this attention, but it's not, that real attention. It's not real life. It's amazing to post your accomplishments, of course. And if you just post those, then you're not really
Yeah.
acknowledging everything. And I know people have heard that message for sure, but I know moving forward, at least social media has made an impact for sure and has grown tremendously. But I also feel like mental health has kind of grown with it and made sure that it kind of keeps the guys in check and keeps the everybody in check to make sure, hey, we got to make sure we're still talking about it. At least the athletes, the student athletes
Yeah.
themselves are using their platforms to talk about it, which is awesome to see.
I also think the response to it has gotten
Mm,
better. Like now, when we
yeah,
see someone say, I need to step away from my mental
it's a
health, we
great
say,
point.
oh, that's
Right.
great. We do treat it like,
That's a good,
you,
yeah, you're right. You don't look down upon it or say, oh,
no.
it's a weakness or, which I never did, of course, but I know obviously a lot of people did back. You just, hey, rub some elbow grease on it,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But my dad uses a good analogy of, you tear your ACL or you break a bone, you got to go through all the protocols and the casts and stuff like that. If something up here is broken, then, there's no protocol for it. There's nobody, so I feel like we've started to develop somewhat of a protocol for people.
Mhm.
And just normalizing it is huge for sure. So thanks for saying that. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah. I just know even for me, like I react to it very differently now than I
Yeah,
would have 8 to 10 years ago. And I know
yeah,
some of that comes with, just getting older and growing up, but
right,
also just as I learn and educate myself on this whole thing, because
for sure.
it all the brain it all starts with the brain
Right,
and the mind,
right,
so
right.
you can't be your best self and do what you got to do every day and suffer
Hundred percent.
if your brain if your mind isn't with
How
it.
could you? Yeah, right.
Yeah. As you have gotten older, you're 25 now, which is crazy. You're still so young.
Oh my
Gosh,
goodness.
it's crazy.
Am I? Am I?
Yeah, you
No,
are.
I
You are.
get
You
you.
are
Yeah,
very young.
it is.
What have you learned about mental health as you've grown up in this charity and in these last 10 years and been an advocate for this very, difficult, sensitive subject for years now?
Um, yeah, that's a great question, I'd say, because I love the answer that would probably come with it is that mental health affects everybody. Obviously,
Mhm.
it affects student athletes a little bit more, maybe, but I feel like it affects everybody the same and has at least has had an impact on a lot of people I've come across and had conversations with, which is sad to say, but that just means we're talking about it a little bit more. I'd just say it's hard to be away from ball for sure. I know that former athletes and stuff like that, stepping away from the game and looking back at it, that all that, that amazing stuff that came with it is not as important, obviously, but I just love the game. I love playing it and stuff like that. So filling the time is definitely something I've learned to kind of help with my mental health actually because I've learned breathing exercises in college from a sports psychologist. I learned a lot of stuff from college that I've kind of had to self-analyze and use to help with my mental health. And I feel like the more that I am open about it, obviously the more that other people will be open about it. So I think that one, I've realized how important how important our mission is, rather than being selfish and thinking about myself and what could have been. I've come to realize, okay, let just put some effort into it. Just put a little bit of work into it and see what happens. And I've seen I mean, it goes with everything, kind of. You use the fruits of your labor, So if you put
Mhm.
a little bit of work into it, obviously sometimes it doesn't work out, but if you just keep showing up and you keep working a little bit with good intention and positivity, like you and I had talked about, which I loved, I feel like it goes your way. And I will say this last thing. is that it's a choice, I think, because the enemy always has a vote. I feel like a lot of people have seen or said, when demons come into the head or whatever thoughts come into the head, you just laugh at them. And that's what I've done a lot of the times because I know it's not true. I know what's true about myself. And if you continue to be consistent with yourself in that, I feel like it's hard to stray away from being in that dark place,
Mm.
Or
Yeah.
sorry, to stray away from being in that good place. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. You've
yeah.
talked about your faith a couple times in this interview. What has your
Mhm.
faith meant and done for you during this entire journey?
Yeah, without my faith, I don't know where I'd be, to be honest. I have three Bibles in my room. I got one over there, one on my desk there, and one on my and it's not just the thing that I did realize when I was younger is that you can be I don't know how you call it, a portrayer or somebody, that just says the Our Father and then calls it a day. But I've realized that the more you kind of get into the faith and really try to connect with God in the relationship and understand the history of the earth and just life in general, that life just becomes a little bit better for you.
Mm.
And that's just amazing to see. And it's kind of allowed me to grow and wake up for that next day, and be excited for that next day and have the hope, that hey, you never know what's going to happen on that day. It could be a bad day, but that wouldn't make the good days so good. Because if you had never had a bad day, there wouldn't be any good days. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of what I've learned and what I've leaned on for my faith. And it's amazing because after Tyler, and I hope they'll be okay with me saying this, but they've come a long way. My family kind of lost faith. They didn't really, my mom asked me a couple of times and right after, like, do you believe? And I was like, of course I like, come on. But yeah, like I think Tyler's struggling a little bit too much that God is like, hey, let's get you out of there and let's figure it out. And I think he's up there right now with my dog Navy and my Nana, but I've gotten them to go to church recently. I've gotten them to come with me to dam service. And it's just been amazing because it's helped me one as an individual cope with kind of getting away from ball, but also getting through ball too. Honestly, those workouts are tough. I
Yeah.
will say a little bit. I kind of had to send up a prayer maybe in the middle of 60s or something, but yeah, it's been amazing for sure.
Mm. Another aspect of this that I wanted to talk to you about is grief. And I think when it comes to grief, we
Hmm.
talk a lot about grief in the short term. When something tragic like this happens, people
Yeah.
are kind of with you at the beginning, and then,
Yep.
life goes on for everyone else. But for you, the
Yep.
grief is always there. Grief is something that never goes away. How do you deal with grief years after you lose a loved one? Because it is something, again, that's
Yeah.
just part of anybody's life when they lose someone they love.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. I think maybe some people have heard, maybe you've heard, like time is the ultimate healer, but it never fully heals. It just scars over,
Mm.
obviously. Because I mean, dude, if I had Tyler here, I mean, who knows, obviously, but that's a dangerous game, the what if game. So how I've dealt with it, and my mom and dad still deal with it, is one, obviously talking with one another about it and being able to be vulnerable with each other and saying, like, hey, I'm not doing okay, like I miss him, and having those moments of vulnerability. But um, I think that's a big thing. I'll just be blaming on, like I cry every now and then for sure because I miss my brother and I miss how things were, or I wish things were different. Of course, like, but that's just being human.
Yeah.
And I feel like that allows me to kind of get it out kind of and then kind of re-up until the next cry, I guess, and get through life. But I think the biggest thing has been really leaning on my parents and my brother, and leaning on my faith, obviously. And there's a couple of chosen few. Juju McDowell has actually been, I want to give that dude a huge shout. He did insurance with me when I first got back. Um, but on the point of sharing with others and being vulnerable, I was vulnerable with that dude, and that dude was vulnerable with me in the sense of sharing emotion and
Mm.
just being an amazing person. Like, dude is just a cool dude. He's got his little brother with him too. Um, and yeah, I just was able to be myself with that guy and go through life kind of for those 6 months together. Um, and it was amazing. I loved it. So I think leaning on each other was amazing and having those moments of vulnerability, knowing it's okay. to go through that, a little bit. But when it gets too much, you know that 988 is just as known as 911, or like I'm trying to get it there. So I think if it gets too much, you have other people that can literally physically help you too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Vulnerability is not weakness. Communication is important. Emotions, we're all
yep,
human. And I think everything you said, Tyler, I think anybody who's lost a loved one, and I think we all have, I think that's a general human experience. I think
yep,
that everyone can relate to what you just said about those feelings never go away and they're always with you, no matter how
right.
long time passes.
And it's a
It's,
good thing too, because then I remember him. I mean, if I
yeah.
didn't, then I wouldn't remember him and I wouldn't be able to remember how stupid he was or how funny he was and how good of a dude. So it's a little bit of obviously sadness, but it's also kind of happiness too, a little bit
Mm,
sometimes. So
of course.
thanks for saying
Absolutely.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think that is something that every single person, can relate to that's listening to
100%.
this and watching this. Hilinski's Hope is so amazing. Before we switch over to your Gamecock career and talk some ball, is there anything else you want to add about the charity before we go down memory lane? How can people support it? Anything that you
Yeah.
want to say?
Just keep following us, keep supporting us like I do when I did insurance. I walked into so many businesses and I was floored at how many people had either Hilinski's Hope wristbands on or still recognized me and the name. And I think that just one goes a long way to show how well of a job my parents did with Hilinski's Hope. And shoot, of course I wish I could have done a lot things differently football wise. But how amazing it was to have an impact on this community that had such an impact on us. So check out hope.org. I'm going to put up a store soon with some new merch for sure, which will
Okay.
be cool. And then check out our Student Athlete Mental Health Week link on there as well. Figure to see how you can get involved, get a digital toolkit, sponsor school, what have you. So yeah,
Make sure you guys go support Hilinski's Hope at hilinskishope.org as they continue to make such an impact in so many ways. All right, let's go down memory lane, Ryan.
oh,
We're going to talk some Gamecock football because you did have such an impact in your time here at South Carolina.
shoot,
And of course, you loved it so much, you came back. You're still
right,
here in
exactly.
Columbia,
All
which is
right.
great. You were such a highly recruited quarterback out of high school. You had so many offers. You could have gone anywhere. Why South Carolina? What stood out to you about the Gamecocks?
Shoot. I remember actually we did a thing called the SEC road trip. It was me and my parents did it actually. And we went to Tennessee, we went to Ole Miss, Georgia, South Carolina, obviously, and a couple other schools. And I remember visiting SC and the new football ops building was being built. So I
Yeah.
was able to go and see that and know that I was going to be the first person in that locker. Um, Really it was the people that did everything for me, the staff. Obviously I got to know what recruiting really was when I got to South Carolina. But they were still amazing people, and it was the people outside in the community. And I know it sounds cliche or whatever, but it's the truth because we were able to heal here, as a family kind of, and start fresh in a sense. Even though we still remember Tyler obviously and carry him with us and our last name, but it kind of just helped us get away from all of the noise in California too, and get to this amazing place where everybody, my neighbors brought me a pecan pie. I don't
Yeah.
want to,
What do I say? I think I say pecan.
pecan. Okay, that's what pecan pie. Okay, pecan pie. They brought us a pecan pie the second day we moved into our house, and like it was just because I had said it in the newspaper like before prior moving in, and they came over, and honestly, that was just it was good to see that they treated my family so amazing. And I won't sugarcoat. Obviously, I thought I was going to be able to come in and learn under Jake, compete with the carry on, and see what could happen. It was kind of a good setup from what they were telling me. And I love Coach Werner. I love Muschamp. I love Brian McClendon. Like
Yeah.
all those dudes were really good people to me. They never really said anything bad to me or mouth off or whatever, but it was really those people that kind of did it in. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it about South Carolina that helped you kind of transition into that next part of you and your family's lives?
Shoot, like as in after call or just going from California
Yeah, just going
to
from California
yeah.
to Columbia.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're on Lake Murray. So the house that that's where I'm at. I'm with my parents, but we also added a separate section kind of, which I was
Mhm.
able to help with,
Cool.
to the house kind of. So now it's like it's two homes, I guess, but it's right on the lake. My mom, she loves the water. It kind of helps her be her calm.
Yeah.
Um, it's distant enough from neighbors where they're not, they can't see you making a pizza or something. But they're close enough to where you can walk over and say what's up to them. Bob and Mark are my neighbor. Mark's a fireman. Bob's just a dope dude. And it really just helped us get some space and be able to still do the things that we love to do. Like, because I had to live on campus when I first got here.
Mhm.
But then that got to just be a little bit too much actually, because I people were knocking on our doors at like AM in the AMs the week of games and stuff. Because it was I lived with Zach Pickens too and Joe Anderson. So like good luck Bama, like not
Oh,
like
so it
that
was
or
like
not
fan
maliciously. Yeah,
other students that were
or
fans?
yes, I
Okay.
don't know. I hate saying fan, but like it's other people. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, like kick Bama with it, or something like that. And I was like, dude, like what is going on? And then my brother Kelly actually had moved over from Utah. So he had graduated college at that time, post grad in at Weber State. Um, and he didn't have anything holding him down out there. And I was playing out here and family's moving out here. So he's like, I'll go out there. So he came out here and he was living by himself. We're super close. I loved him. Zach had a brother, Kevin, too. So it kind of just worked out to where I was able to one, move out and live with Kelly, and just spend some time with my older brother. Kelly's 7 years older than me. So kind of that distance a little bit kind of separated us, at least at first. And then over the years, we've gotten closer. So that's kind of helped. But it's really just given us that space. It's given us time to heal, and just had people that just are really nice and cool people kind of add to the happiness that South Carolina, gives a
Yeah.
little bit,
That freshman season, do you remember just kind of that was obviously where you shined so brightly. I mean, what do you think? Like, what stood out to you about that whole year in general?
Oh man, that was a blur to be honest. I just remember just playing. Like it just got to be to a point where I mean COVID obviously hit in 2020 and
Hmm.
I have respect for Bobo as a coach. I take one thing from him away, and he said the world's full of average MFers. Don't be an average MFer. So I guess I respect him for that, and I think he was a good, decent guy to be honest. But obviously we know how that 2020 season went. So I think
Hmm.
and onward, obviously. But that freshman year, what really stood out to me kind of was just I was able to go out there and just sling it. And I had really, really, really good players around me. I
Yeah.
had J.C. Horn, I had Israel McQuamu, I had Javon Kinlaw, who's my locker mate, Shai Smith, Josh Van. I had
Yeah.
Xavier Leggett. I threw him his first touchdown pass. I
That's
had
right.
Brian Edwards, Rico Dowdle. I
Whew.
had all my O linemen, Sedarius Hutcherson. I had Dylan Wanham, and
Yeah.
his brother. I had Roderick, safety, and then Jam. I had him, Jamie Robinson too. I mean, the list goes on and on. And then I mean, the carry on's a beast too. Obviously, I just wasn't going to listen because I thought it was going to be on the list. Given it's a given.
Yeah.
But just a lot of good teammates, which stood out to me too, and they stepped forward and helped me as much. I mean, obviously that wins. Oh man, I wish I won a lot more for us. Trust me, that's the biggest thing that's always on my mind. Not always, but it lingers for sure. But they really played their butts off, and how still amazing that season kind of felt, even though our record didn't show it being amazing. That season felt like we were in it to win it or something. Like
Yeah.
it just was electric all the time. And Willie B always shows out, obviously, no matter what the Gamecocks are doing, because they're going to cheer you on or they're going to let you know that you need to shape up for
Yeah.
sure, which is rightfully so. But that year was just it was fun because I just got to keep playing. Um, and the coaches didn't get in my way. They just let me play. And the guys around me really stepped up and were really cool dudes. And I got to just kind of get a sense for, I mean, looking back on it, it's wild to think like there's no way I think like playing against Kyle Trask and Kyle Pitts and playing Jake Fromm and Georgia and all those guys. Like, and I just wish I could freaking do it again. So trust
Yeah.
me. because there is nothing like running out into Willie B. There's nothing like throwing a touchdown and just hearing sound go away. Like it's just amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful for that because I know a lot of people don't get to experience that. And I just know I wish that I just didn't get, I guess my brain just more developed than I guess started to develop more, but I just got into my head with politics and thinking too much rather than playing the game and
Mm.
trying not to lose rather than trying to win, you
Yeah.
know. And that I feel like was my downfall as my career went on and I just yeah, I love that game though. It was amazing. And
Mm.
I love the teammates are what I missed the most for sure. But Northwestern was cool too, but I wish stayed at SC. But
Yeah.
anyways.
Well, as an athlete, you grow up, you kind of think, this is what I want my career to be, and then
Right.
once it's over, you look back and like you said, the what if game is very dangerous.
Right.
Everybody can do that
Exactly.
in any walk of life.
Exactly.
How do you kind of make peace with it is what it is, and this is where I'm at now, and I got to go forward from here, and that's just the way the story
Yeah.
played out.
I'd say that just the gratitude part of it, and being able to be thankful for what you got, um, and realizing lingering on it literally doesn't do you anything except maybe learn from it moving
Mhm.
forward. And then, once you figured out what to learn from moving forward, then you forget about it. But there's still times, that I still think about overthrowing Shy Smith in a wide open touchdown against Charleston Southern, or throwing a pick six against Missouri, or freaking going like this to catch a ball and then it ended up being a fumble against Missouri. But the good thing is I've realized how thankful I am to have been able to be in that position,
Mhm.
and to have affected so many more people than I realized. Um, and obviously, yeah, you want to do it, but realizing what position I'm in now, and I could still affect just the amount of people,
Yeah.
and that's helped me a lot. And obviously, the faith part of it has definitely come a long way with it too.
And you do a lot with high schools too. I know you kind of give back to the high school. How
Yeah.
much can you preach to them? Hey, don't play the politics. There's politics in all sports. Don't play
Right.
the politics, just play the sport. How much can you kind of now turn the tables and relate that to them as they get ready, for their
Yeah.
futures?
Well, I know we talked about social media, to be honest, and like kind of going into college, obviously it was Hilinski's hope, and then I had the crazy season and all the offers started rolling in and all this and stuff. So my head kind of was just in a spin. Um, but I'd say if you really love the game and stuff go all in. I feel like realizing that the sacrifice is part of the game, and they say enjoying the process and stuff like that. Enjoying the process is literally living in the moment. I feel like is what
Mhm.
people and those guys need to understand, and realizing like, hey, one, it is also just a game, so to not put that pressure on themselves. But if you really want it, and it's hard to ask yourself that question at that age, obviously, especially if there's no offers in there. But if you really want it, then go all in. Go
Yeah.
all in. Why not? And I feel like going all in looks different for different people, obviously. But going all in, I think at the end of the day, is lying your head on your pillow and being like, shoot, I wish I did that.
Mhm.
Or being able to lie on your pillow and say, not say, shoot, I wish I did that.
Yeah.
Or realizing, a week after that thing you wanted to do or win that game is like, oh, I missed doing that. That could have, but obviously you could find anything, but the right thing to do in your heart. You know what you got to do. And it's different for everybody. But as long as you get there and accomplish that and what you feel in your gut to be true, then I feel like you can't go wrong at the end of the day when you
Yeah.
look at yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know those high school kids, and anyone really takes that advice from you so seriously. We've talked a lot about hard moments in this
Yeah.
interview. So let's talk about some happy moments. Let's talk,
Yeah.
positive,
Yeah.
like
No
the good
doubt.
memories. I remember the stands. You kind of talked about it earlier with everyone holding up three. It was so powerful. It's still a
Yeah.
moment that gives me goosebumps to think about because
Yeah.
it felt so much bigger than football. What did you feel, seeing that support from this community, from other communities? You talked about Nick
Yeah.
Saban. I mean,
Yeah.
it had to be kind of an out of body experience, right?
Yeah. I think that freshman year was such literally. I didn't realize it in the moment, and I was younger, obviously, and my brain's kind of come to realize it. It's just how life is, and you don't know how what you got till it's gone. You know what I'm saying? So I think I've come to realize, like, one, Texas A&M literally in 12th man was practicing that the night before we played at Soldier Field, and like it was just looking back on it and seeing the pictures and realizing that Tennessee did it. And all of these stadiums literally full of thousands of people not only listened to the PSA, but they followed up with the call to action,
Hmm.
and that just goes to show that one, somebody either themselves or somebody they know was suffering or was affected by or has suffered from mental health crisis or struggles. And I think it's I always beat myself up for it because I feel like we could get more notoriety to Helinski's Hope if I had played better.
Oh no.
If
Yeah.
no, I know, and I
Yeah.
know and that's the thing, I laugh at that. Those are the demons and the bad
Yeah.
thoughts, of course, but I could still do the same amount of impact, and I could
Hmm.
still be able to get us going. And it's amazing to see kind of all the pictures because I've seen it a lot with me in them. And I didn't even remember holding up the three, to be honest, at
Yeah.
that point. Like, I may have taken a hit or two, but yeah, that seeing Saban and just yeah, it's kind of hard to put into words that many
Yeah.
people doing that for your family and for your brother
Yeah,
too. So
I
yeah.
know I know it's so hard like when you're in the middle of it to kind of
Yeah.
take everything, but just being on the outside, it was a movement. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
everybody knew about it. Everybody wanted to be a part of it. It was
Yeah.
just such a
That's
game
cool.
changer.
That's cool.
And I know it could be overwhelming, when you're at
Yeah.
the center of it all, but just being on the outside,
No,
it
that
was
is
just so
amazing.
impactful in a way
Yeah.
that I still think you're seeing that impact now. And of course,
Yeah.
that was a special moment, kind of communally, but on the
Right.
field, your famous win over Georgia in 2019.
Oh man.
It was so exciting. It was epic. It was
Dude, that was
overtime
awesome.
in
Yeah,
Athens,
it
which is a
was.
hard place to win. And
Oh man.
still South Carolina's, they still, that was their last win over
Right.
Georgia. And I'm
Right.
excited that game's coming back on the schedule this year. I think it's
It's gonna be
important.
sick.
I
Yep.
mean, I know this is a generic question, but what do you
Yeah.
remember about that game in that moment? Because it was awesome.
Yeah. To be honest, one I remember to be football technically or football technical terms, I'd say it was a very efficient game for the offense and a defensive absolutely effing dominated game. I mean, Israel McQuamu, thank you, dog. Like, absolutely amazing. Just like to see our boys be in one, that's an amazing stadium. I think that was just like recently built, or yeah, like when we played there. I remember it being in construction when I went to visit Georgia on that SEC road trip. I swear that could have been the first year that stadium was there. Maybe
I
I'll
can't remember, to be
I'll look it
honest.
up after. It might be, but because they had the book, maybe the second year because they had the bushes and stuff. But
Yeah, yeah.
second year because I had to play another year, so second year. Anyways,
Got you.
um, yeah, I remember that game. One, I got hurt that game pretty bad.
Yeah.
Obviously, my knee just. I remember that touchdown to Brian, but before that, I had thrown a dig to Nick Muse, and right before I let go of that ball, I got absolutely rocked by a Mike Blitz, and I saw black, like for sure. And, like it was like for half a second, got up, but like it happens. Like maybe I just closed my eyes. That's why I saw the black. Um, but I remember getting that complete, and we were moving. And earlier in the week, we had practice to play. And I love Coach Wolford, and I hope he's okay with me saying it because it's a fun story. But we had one specific play, and this is the play to Brian, the touchdown. It was 98 uphill. So it was red 98, which is red. It's sprint out, like half sprint out protection, 98 to the right, fake stretch. So we didn't have any red 99. And in practice, somehow the O line ran red 99. Like somehow they ran a play that we didn't even have. And I remember I was rolling out, like to just practice the play, and Wolf comes, Coach Wolford, the line coach. He's like, "The fuck you call? What do you call?" And as I'm rolling out, I'm like, called 98. We don't have a 99. And then I launched it to Brian, and like that was the big moment of the week. That was kind of like funny, but also like a little tense for guys. And then
Yeah.
it ended up being a huge play for us. Um, but then obviously I remember my knee getting absolutely melted. And then our trainers, working on me, giving me the magic stuff, going back in, and I knew something was wrong. Like I looked over at my family. I remember because I had gotten on the bike, and I was like, yeah, like something's just not clicking right. And
Hmm.
then I got hit again that in that second half on that screen pass to Brian, and he went down on the same play, and it was like, oh no, here we go. But I just remember giving it everything I got, and then blessed enough to have the carry on come in and freaking do what he did and
Yeah.
get us to the finish line. Because I mean, that is not hard. I mean, sorry, not easy to do. And shout out obviously the defense for their amazing game and
Yeah.
everybody else on that team for sure. But it
Yeah.
was an amazing feeling. And then obviously after the game, I remember finding Coach Muschamp and hugging him and how amazing he felt, like seeing his joy and happy on his face. I felt like a son kind of making a dad happy, in a
Yeah.
sense. And then I remember the locker room after and how many bushes we had that guys took from their hedges and then how many cigars were lit in that and I'm trying to I'm on crutches and I'm like trying to I'm like, yeah, sure. And getting by. And then that night, I remember obviously 5 points is a thing.
Yeah.
So people did what they did, but my knee was literally the size of a watermelon. And I went to the apartment at Lake Murray, the apartments that are still here, they just built on them, but sat with my brother Kelly and played Mario Party and called it a night. And I was happy doing that. That was a good night. So
That's
that
awesome.
that was that was a good day. I love that
Yeah.
game.
A full
Yeah,
team
for
effort
sure.
and a full team memory. That's one of those nights you
Right.
don't forget. That's cool.
Exactly, for sure. Those
That's
guys, those
awesome.
guys deserved it for sure.
And I know that that's a game and a memory that Gamecock fans still carry
Yeah.
to this day. Again, I'm happy that Georgia South Carolina is back on the schedule this
Yeah.
year. And then I know you talked about how you wish you'd stayed at SC and
Yeah.
you went to Northwestern after players transfer for whatever reason. We
Yeah.
see it all the time now. How hard was it to leave the Gamecocks?
Oh man. I remember I remember it being it was a quick, fast decision. And
Hmm.
regretfully to say, because not that I didn't mull over it, but it was the transfer deadline and this and that.
Yeah.
And playing was such a big thing to me. And I remember I could read writing on the wall and just seeing Beamer and stuff like that. And I remember when I actually went on a flight up to, Coach was great, by the way. Coach Beamer was awesome. I remember him calling me and stuff like that. But I remember getting on a flight up to Northwestern and Spencer had DM'd me. He's like, "Hey, South Carolina cool." But anyways,
Really? Wait, Spencer Rattler, he DM'd you?
yeah, he had DM'd me before he had transferred in, and I
Okay.
think while I was just about to end the transfer process of going to Northwestern,
Gotcha.
it was obviously hard because one, I was like, "Damn, I'm about to make." I just moved my family here,
Yeah.
and they're gonna have to fly up to games and stuff like that, and yeah, it was. I wish I had thought about it a little bit longer and had more time for sure. But definitely going from not the new Ryan Stadium is amazing, obviously, and the old one it has a lot of tradition. I'll never talk bad about it because
Hmm.
Coach Fitzgerald is on that wall and he's an absolute monster.
Yeah.
But going just from being able to hold 86,000 to one, we should have played better to get our fans to travel at Northwestern, but the opposing team traveling more fans for home games than your own fans was a little bit tough for
Hmm.
sure in terms of the football aspect. But still, there were some pretty cool people up at Northwestern. I can't say that. So there were some pretty cool people that helped Hilinski's hope
Yeah.
and were cool to us. So I loved that place actually too, in terms of the football kind of and the fan and the atmosphere and just the SEC. It's definitely a different ball game for sure, but still, there's some pretty Michigan, the Big House in Ohio State. There, those are pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I know that Gamecock fans have enjoyed watching your whole journey. I know that they cherished you so much as a former Gamecock and are still cheering for you today. And
Yeah.
anything else you want to add about your playing career, about your time at South Carolina that we didn't touch on?
Trying to think. It was just amazing. One to play in South Carolina, like just that feeling of being in Tennessee. I think Tennessee is pretty loud, but nothing's louder than Willie B, of course. Um, and just being able to play against all these amazing dudes, like, and then actually going to Northwestern kind of and playing against those guys, I think me and my dad added it up, and it's like 80 plus like stadiums I think I've played in, to be honest,
That's
which is
crazy.
kind of cool. Or maybe 50 plus. 80 might be a stretch, but I will say I remember getting into that Texas A&M game in 2020. It was like my only time, I think, besides Vanderbilt and handing some balls off. But we went down and got a field goal of our only points in the Texas A&M game. And just the people, like obviously we're getting dismantled. But being able to just hear people still root for you and seeing the people that still support Hilinski's Hope to this day has been amazing for sure.
Yeah,
But I wish I could have done a lot more playing wise, but the what if game, like we said, is dangerous. And
dangerous.
I think I did what I could, but obviously you could do, or you could always do better.
You've done a lot. You've done
Yes,
amazing, man,
sir.
and you've done a lot more
Thank
than a
you.
lot of us have in
Thanks.
sports,
Thank you.
So
Yes,
you've
sir.
accomplished so much. I want to thank you for coming on South Carolina
Yeah.
Sideline. I want to thank you for joining us. I tell everyone I think it's an honor when people say yes to me. I just kind of send out emails and texts,
Time is
and
important. No,
it
I
is.
say I think I appreciate you saying that, and one just having me on and giving me a voice, honestly, and being able to talk about this again and being able to smile on it for sure and realize kind of how much of an impact I could have. So I appreciate you, Matt, for sure.
Yeah, the impact has not gone away. And as we
Yes,
wrap
sir.
up, Helinski's Hopes website says to honor by doing three good things every
Mhm.
day. So what are the
Mhm.
three good things for you today?
Shoot. Well, one, the good thing was having a conversation with Matt and going on this,
Okay.
I'd say. I think that was pretty good. I think another good thing I might do today is one, get some flowers for my mom. I was planning
Okay.
on doing that already, but she's coming back from Alabama. She had eye surgery, so she had an eye patch on
Okay.
and she's driving. So, yeah, I've been stressing all day. She's fine. She'll be okay, but I've been stressing, so I might get her some flowers. Um,
That's a good
and
one.
then I might go in the pool with my dog. I think that'd be a good thing. And
Okay.
maybe text my brother, tell him I love him.
There you go.
But really, so what the gist of that is we have wristbands, right? Obviously, and Tyler's number's 3. So whenever somebody, yes, obviously we would hope people could think off their domes to do 3 good things. But we try to get these wristbands out to as many people as we can, obviously. So if you ever look down at it and you see it, just think of 3 good things, either that you're going to do that day or just that can help your mental health, I think,
Yeah.
because we're kind of adapting that too, in a sense, to just because a lot of people stress and have anxiety about doing stuff and
Hmm.
being able to, including myself sometimes. So I think just 3 positive things will make your day better if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, if you
Yeah.
are listening or watching this, make sure you do three good, healthy things for you today to
Yeah.
help
Love
your
it.
mental, to help your physical, to help just your everyday life. We're
Yeah.
all here on this earth doing life together. So
Yeah.
do good. Ryan, it's been awesome to talk to you, man. This has been
Yeah.
a great conversation. I've always wanted to get to meet you and talk to you
Absolutely.
and know your story. And I thank you so much for coming on our podcast
No,
and talking
absolutely.
Helinski's Hope, talking your career, your life, and everything. I'm glad you're here in the
Yeah.
Midlands still. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Go Cox as always, for sure. Let's get after it this season, boys, for sure. I'm excited for it and I love South Carolina. So thanks again, Matt.
Ryan Hilinski, everybody. And again, you can support Hilinski's Hope at hilinskishope.org. And you can watch South Carolina Sideline on YouTube or listen to it wherever you get your podcasts on Apple, Spotify, or Amazon Music. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, rate us. As always, we'll see you next time here on the sideline.